We'll have relations down here, but
Y'all ready? How are we doing?
good.
Great day. We signed 4 really good players today. Excited about and continuing to improve our roster and continue to create the quality we're going to need to have in our league. And there's no doubt helped ourselves today. I'll start out with Zaquandre White from Cape Coral, Florida. Originally played at North Fort Myers for Ernest Graham, a guy that I know extremely well and have a lot of respect for. He thinks a lot of Zaquandre as a running back. Originally qualified, signed with Florida State out of high school, and went through the coaching change when Coach Fisher was there and transferred to, went to Coach Taggart, and just kind of sometimes when you have those transitions, you lose some really good football players. And I actually talked to Jimbo about Zaquandre. Really liked his athleticism and him as a young man, and feels like he's got a tremendous upside. So really excited to have him. Went out to Iowa Western, did a really nice job out there. His parents, Zach and Dorothy, were great in this process. But a guy that's got the type of measurables you want, and really excited to add another, a size speed athlete to our football team. Certainly is going to help us there. Jakari Caldwell from Northwestern High School right here in South Carolina, Rock Hill, just had an unbelievable senior season. Paige Wofford, who was the offensive coordinator at Daniel, went to Northwestern and installed an offense, and they threw the ball an awful lot, and they do a really nice job throwing it. And Jakari ended up, I think, with 51 catches, and kind of kept coming onto the screen for us in fall. We got more and more excited about him, and then you meet him and you see the type young man he is and what he stands for. His mom, Demetrius, is a fantastic woman, and we just had to really hit it off when we met. Came down on the official visit, came unofficial, and then came back for an official visit, and really excited to add another guy from the Rock Hill area to our football team, obviously the hotbed in South Carolina of football. Alex Hundley from Hammond School. I've got a unique relationship, obviously, with Alex. Saw him as a freshman in lacrosse, 280 pounds, running up and down the field. Obviously, with my son Jackson being at Hammond, but just a big athlete, very flexible in his lower body, very powerful in his lower body. But I saw him continue to grow and mature there at Hammond, in which Eric Kimmery, the head coach there, does a fantastic job. So just to watch this guy grow through the process. Lisa and Harold have been awesome. Been raised right, and really excited about him and joining our program. The guy is a student body president at Hammond. He didn't enter Hammond until the 9th grade. Says a lot about the type positive impact he can have on other people and what he'll do in our locker room. But I'm really excited about him. And Gilbert Edmond from Westwood High School in Fort Pierce, Florida, kind of came on our radar really late, about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. I wanted to add another linebacker to our class. He's about 6'3", about 205. But can really play in space, can really run. Jeff George is his head coach. And talking to him, the type young man we want on our football team, and we went down and saw him the last couple of weeks there in January and really felt good about him, and were able to know that we were going to have a spot available and wanted to extend that. So that puts us at 24 initials. We obviously still have one left. So, but really excited about adding these 4 guys to our class. Again, I like where our numbers are positionally. It's sort of distributed through our team on our roster. Our mid-year guys are doing really well. To see those guys, the 4 offensive linemen fit, as far as athletically and playing with power. Luke Doty's been outstanding. Marshawn Lloyd, another guy we're, seeing guy that's really competing on a high level, which is exciting to see. Mike Wyman's done some nice things for us. O'Donnell Fortune and Dominic Kill both showed up, done a nice job for us. So I'm really pleased with the progress with Coach Jackson and what they've done to this point of the all-season program. We've monitored it as coaches, and we'll certainly start taking more of a role next week as coaches, and we'll get really about 6 days before we start spring on February 26th with our football team as far as working a little bit with them hands-on, which what we're allowed to do by NCAA rules in the off-season. So excited about today and obviously us moving forward, and I'll open it up for any questions.
Will any reason to be concerned if somebody might have verbally committed and not sent in his letter?
No, we're going to be fine.
And what are some reasons somebody might wait to send in their letter?
You got to ask them.
Oh, can you give us a little more about what sort of the process with Elber kind of was, how that came together, the timing of it?
Well, we're constantly evaluating, and our recruiting office does an outstanding job of continuing to evaluate guys. And Jakari Caldwell, here we start hearing some, obviously in our state, so you hear a little bit more. The relationships you have with high school coaches in the area, obviously with Paige and to them continue to this guy's really playing well. I think you need to take a harder look at him. So we're always evaluating guys we have committed that aren't playing as well, and we want to call them up and say, what's the deal here? Why aren't you playing a little bit better? So that just because you commit or it's a great example for a lot of guys that maybe don't have a lot going into their senior year, which these guys didn't, but they played extremely well. And you'll get recognized. People will find you as much social media and different interactions you can have on film now. So to find those guys and start recruiting them and get to know them a little bit better and feel more comfortable about bringing them to Columbia, to the University of South Carolina, bring them in our locker room. And our staff felt very good in both situations about both players.
Coach, I know we saw you earlier today at Hammond seeing your son and committing to Georgia. If you could what was that like for you today to be next to your son, putting on the Bulldog hat, just knowing how proud you are of him finally making his hat?
I didn't like the hat at all, but no, it's Jackson. We had a discussion probably 5 or 6 years ago, and that's young. He said, Dad, I want to play Division I college football. And I said, well, it's going to be really hard. You're going to have to really work hard, take advantage of the opportunities you have. But you got to really put in the time. And at that time, he really started kind of going into 8th, 9th grade, really put in the time. We weren't even here at that time. And really started working toward, wanting to be a Division I quarterback. And so obviously had some offers from Division I programs. The BC offer was with Coach Adazio, who's now at Colorado State, and went out to Colorado State, and it was beautiful. And the staff was outstanding. The facilities are phenomenal. It's an outstanding school. It's a beautiful scene. Got caught up in the moment a little bit and committed, and wish we had waited a day. And he got home and realized that was a long way away from home. And we have a very close-knit family. And so he called me and my wife, Carol, on Monday on a conference call and said, I think I've made a huge mistake. I don't know if I can go this far away from home. And, I said, listen, this is the way you feel. You need to call these coaches immediately. So it wasn't a flip like the article said. I mean, this was made a mistake, and we owned it, and we called the coaches immediately and let them know exactly what was going on in the process. George has been recruiting Jackson since summer. He went over there to summer camp. He had a really good camp, and they were very impressed with him. They felt like in a walk-on situation they'd love to have him on their roster. Coach Smart's known Jackson since he was born. So obviously there's a relationship there. So I felt like it was a good fit for him. It's what he wanted to do. He also, in that conversation that we had a long time ago, goes, Dad, I don't want to be where you are. Whether it's at Texas, it's at South Carolina, it's at Florida, wherever it is, Auburn, I want to blaze my own path and be my own man. And I totally respect that. That's in a unique position because it's a quarterback position. And it's not a receiver, it's not a DB where you've got an opportunity to maybe get on special teams, to maybe play, to maybe get on the bus, to be on the kickoff team or the punt. Well, that's not happening at that position. And then he made a statement for a very young man at that time, believe he was in 8th grade, when he said, if I go where you are, the reason why I'm playing is because of you. And the reason why I'm not playing is because of you. And I don't want to get into that. And you know what? He's right. So I'm proud of him and the opportunity that he's going to get and look forward to competing against him.
Is there any similar trait among this group of guys you've mentioned earlier in December that they held through in what was a tough time for you?
Well, addition, obviously, with Gilbert and Jakari, they were new, and guys were excited to be able to add to our roster. But Alex Hundley and Zaquandre were with us the whole time, as far as throughout the entire season, throughout the entire process, and never wavered, in my opinion, as far as being Gamecocks.
In terms of, I don't know how many guys you can speak of in terms of, local guys that are signed with the program, but does that mean something to you, being able to keep some of the guys in Columbia, whether a preferred walk-on or a scholarship guy, to stay home and play for their hometown team?
Absolutely. I think it's convenient for the family. And first of all, speaking from experience, it's convenient to have them have the opportunity to stay here. It's the cool thing to do, to go to Columbia, to go to the University of South Carolina, to see the success that a lot of these guys that have stayed in state, whether they were local or not, but have stayed in state. You know, I tell in-state recruits this story all the time. Jadeveon Clowney has a vape shot here in Columbia, not in Seattle, not in Houston, and not in Rock Hill where he's from. Stephon Gilmore has a business here in town, not in New England, not in Rock Hill, but in Columbia. So those are things to me that as a student athlete here at the University of South Carolina, you can take huge advantage of. And football's going to end. We all have an expiration date. That's going to happen. And 99% of us, it ends before you want it to. Somebody's telling you it's over. So, again, I think it's take advantage of the opportunities you have set in front of you, and I think a lot of our in-state guys understand that.
With some of the other new guys to the program, Colin Hill and Adam Prentice, how have you seen them come along? And I guess
Good.
with Colin coming off the
Colin's
knee
still
injury.
rehabbing the knee, and they think he's ahead of where he should be right now as far as his strength is concerned, as far as his quad is concerned, and that's the biggest thing is the strength levels. And they think he's ahead of where he's supposed to be. He's working extremely hard, to rehab the knee. Adam has been extremely impressive. He's going to be a really good football player for us. Got outstanding leadership ability. All the intangible qualities you're looking for is exactly how Coach Bobo explained him before he got here.
And as far as the quarterback situation going into the spring, how will that dynamic sort of play out for you guys as you sort of juggle Colin with what he can do and mixing him in with?
Well, I don't think
Ryan
Colin's
Woodson?
going to take any snaps during the spring based on what I've been told. He will not be fully cleared till June, possibly May. I think I'm just trying to get my months right. I think that's right at 5.5 to 6 months, May maybe. So he won't take any snaps in the spring.
Well, with Zaquandre, how important was it to you get some experience into the running back room, considering you lost 3 seniors?
Kevin and Deshaun are the only 2 guys that have played on Saturday afternoon in our league. To have an older guy come in that has been on that stage and understanding that part of it, I think is important. But those guys, all of those 5 will have opportunities to take a huge part of our football team.
Is Gilbert a guy you project at the buck position, or would he maybe fit
No,
somewhere
I'm
else?
going to look at him inside. I think his space play and the way he runs in space and plays in space, he's only about 205 pounds right now, 208 maybe. So he guys that does have pass rush ability from his high school tape, but to see his space play was what excited me, to be able to see a guy play in space, play off the ball. We really right now only have 7 scholarship linebackers. We only signed Muhammad Kaba at the position. I felt like I wanted to take another inside guy. We are projecting a little bit with him, but you see the attributes of length and speed, and that's what you like on tape. He will stick his face in the fan, which is good. So those are some attributes we like.
I know you like to watch some big guys play basketball. What do you think of Hundley playing lacrosse?
I think it's great. I think that the first time I noticed him, obviously had a good freshman year, and then to see a 280-pounder run up and down the field like they do, he's an attack, so he's always on the, I don't know if you know anything about lacrosse. I know a lot. In the last couple of years I've learned. But he's got great stick skills. He's got great hand-eye coordination. He's a very difficult guy, especially as big as he is and the girth he has to match up with some of the defenders as far as that's concerned. So, but his athleticism, as I was watching, I was like, I can't find 280 pounders that can run like this that are the type person he is.
When recruiting a prospect, how do you deal with a situation where a parent or parents are totally dominant in the equation and steer practically everything? How do you walk that fine line between trying to get cozy with the player but deal with a situation like that?
I always recruit everybody. At the end of the day, you want to recruit everybody and make everybody feel wanted and needed. Here at the University of South Carolina, we try to strictly promote our program. As far as the academic side of it, which is good for anybody in the Southeastern Conference, the football side of it, which we didn't have a good year this year, but we're not far off of where we need to be as far as those things are concerned and our roster is concerned. The social side of Columbia, which I think is outstanding, and then our staff that I think can grow and develop a young man on and off the field as good as anybody in the country, and it can positively impact their life. And so you recruit everybody in the family. in those situations, in all situations.
Coach, when speaking with Boogie today, he talked about the close-knit nature of this 2020 recruiting class. How have you seen that come together, and how significant can that be in playing a role in helping develop not just the 2020 class, but the entire program when you see a group like that come together before they even step foot onto campus?
Well, I think it really leads to leadership, and guys that are willing to lead and positively affect other guys. They have a text thread amongst the entire group, and they're constantly talking about the things they need to be doing to be successful, and that says awful lot about that. But that generally leads to good recruiting classes too, because you got the right type of leadership and obviously the quality of player you need to have to win in this league.
What was the last time you had a 3 running back recruiting class? How long ago had that been? And when you have that kind of situation, are you looking for different sets of skill sets, or just kind of 3 guys who can play?
I wouldn't know when the last time is, but I don't know that I've been a part of a team that had 3 senior running backs that felt like you needed to replenish the roster with that many guys. But, obviously you'd like to have some guys that give you some different skill sets. But the bottom line is production and guys that can be productive players. In our league, you're going to take hits. You can't throw a 175-pound back out there and think he's going to survive for 12 games. It's not going to happen. So, and you got to have multiple guys in our leagues. No matter how durable a player may be, you're going to need more than 1 or 2 guys in our league to make it through the season that we play and the schedule we have. And I think that, also longevity in terms of you really look at the NFL now, the lack of first-round running backs that are being taken, the longevity of backs is less and less. And so to take less tread off a player that has aspirations of playing on the next level, I think is important as well.
Well, you've never been shy about playing freshmen or first-year guys if they prove that they can be it. Of this class, I mean, does that have the tendency that a good chunk of these guys could play right away?
Absolutely. I mean, there's guys that, just from our mid-year guys that you're sitting there from a maturity standpoint, because I always say this, that, obviously if we signed a player, we think he has the ability to help us. What is the opportunity at his position? And then I think that maturity goes back into a lot of playing as a young player. They're away from home for the first time. It's the first time in front of 80,000 people. They got to be able to learn the playbook and be disciplined enough to maybe spend some extra time to learn the playbook, to watch the film. They got to be coachable, but a lot of that to me goes back to maturity. Obviously, they're guys because a huge part of our evaluation is intelligence. They need to be able to be smart and learn and understand that, which I think all these guys are. So. But I think maturity has a lot to do with that. Opportunity has a lot to do with it, and obviously skill level. But, it's not a bad word to be redshirted. 2 out of the last, I think, 4 Heisman Trophy winners were redshirted. And that didn't mean they were bad players. It just maybe the opportunity did not meet where they were at the time, and maybe they made huge improvements. But I think it was James Winston and Johnny Manziel were both redshirted, and they ended up being pretty good.
Wanted to double check in terms of your guys' numbers. 2 of the August guys from last year count for this class, and
we're at 24.
You're 24, and are Colin and Adam both on scholarship, or
Colin?
Coach, when you talk about the quarterback room, it's a young group, and you have an experienced guy like Colin coming in. How important will he be in terms of just helping managing the young minds? I know Ryan has experience, but when you add a couple guys that are that young, just how pivotal of a role will he play in terms of helping develop and manage those minds?
Well, I think that as much as anything, there's going to be some new terminology that Colin's familiar with, and maybe Ryan and Luke and Jay are not at this point. They will be, and those guys are working extra on their own every single day to come up here and learn. So when we do start with the coaches, that they've got a pretty good grasp of what we're trying to do. And that's the one thing in that group. We've got an outstanding group as far as work ethic is concerned and intelligence is concerned and maturity is concerned. So those guys will be ready to go. And certainly having Colin's experience is do nothing but help. But Mike's also got a lot of experience in coaching young quarterbacks. And so he understands, what a guy can handle, what he can't handle, what we feel like we can do, and what we feel like we can't do. And I think that, his experience certainly will help us with that. All right. Y'all have a great day.